In the pollution-choked streets of Kolkata, one entrepreneur is charting a cleaner, more efficient future. Mayank Bindal, with a finance degree from Glasgow and years in telecom operations, didn't just dream of sustainability, he built it. Launching Snappy cabs in 2022, he created Kolkata's first 100% electric ride-hailing service. No surge pricing, no driver cancellations, just clean, affordable, on-demand rides, and a vision to go national.
The shift in EV in just 2-3 years has been crazy. In terms of numbers, the first thing you should know, we are not a cash burning organization. So we are very sustainable in that way.
So why did you particularly choose Kolkata to start Snappy cabs?
The total download on the app till yesterday was, it has crossed 1 million long back. I don't know exact count, but till yesterday it was more than 1 million.
How important do you feel was your education, both in your BCom at Bhawanipur or your masters in UK, was in your journey to start Snappy?
Like people like me who take flights at 7 in the morning. Boss, 4 o'clock you are getting up, 4:30 you have ordered a cab and it does not turn up. That really makes you go here and there. I'm like, ab karenge kya? Like, we will put a cancellation charge on the consumer because I'm ensuring you're right. Because my driver can't cancel.
Or how do you pay your drivers? What is their incentive to choose Snappy over an Uber or Ola car?
I'm proud to say that today we have active around 20 or 25 women drivers who drive every day. We are trying to figure out if we can somehow do a renewable energy source model.
What are certain advices that you would like to give to aspiring founders in the mobility sector?
The major difference between Ola and Uber is they control the business. Don't make a business where if you don't get funding, you fail.
With a vision to make your rides cleaner, greener and smarter, we have Mr. Mayank Bindal, the founder and CEO of Snappy Cabs with us for the third edition of Seed Stories. Thank you, sir, for joining us today to share your insight with multiple students who are going to view this podcast.
It's my pleasure to be here. Wouldn't say that this has been my alma mater, but I have very fond memories of Xavier's, and it's about almost 20 years that I am again stepping into the boundaries of Xavier's, but it's been great. And thanks for having me here.
Yeah. So, sir, all of us know what Snappy is. We see your cars running on the streets daily.
Yeah.
But you wanted to know more about your background. Like, where was your schooling from? What was your journey before Snappy in the telecom sector? And what led to you starting Snappy?
This might take a while. So, I never studied in Calcutta. Actually, majority of my education came from a boarding school out of Ajmer called Mayo College. So when I landed up in Kolkata for my college, I was unaware of the entire geography, the city itself, because I had never stayed here. And unfortunately, as I was telling you a while back, that while I was trying to take admissions here, I was pretty late in taking admissions because I had no idea about how things work back then. I was oblivious of the outside world apart from what was happening in the boarding school. So when I came here, I happened to join Bhawanipur College. I did my BCom. I did a bit of CFA back then, and after 2.5 odd years, I got an opportunity to step into my master's degree, wherein I went to UK, Glasgow. So I spent a year and a half there, completed my master's. The telecom business that you just talked about is my father's business, which he started when he was young in his 1980s. I think the company was established in 1980s. And I had clear two options back in the day, that I could either come back to India and start my journey with my father on the professional front, or else stay back, utilize my degrees and kind of get a job in the finance sector. In fact, I was lucky enough to get something out there, but again, as we say, I don't think it was the right time for us, because there was the biggest financial meltdown back then, with Lehman Brothers going down and whatnot. So in 2008, I had to choose to come back. Once I came back, I was given the responsibility to join my dad's business. In my dad's business, I was given the responsibility to handle a particular division, which was the newest division in the organization. It was engineering services. A little background about what we did back then was basically help the entire telecom operators build their network. So in a very simple, in very simple answer, I mean very simple explanation to it. So whenever you speak on the phone, that's your receiver. We used to work on the transmitters. So basically any tower that you see, any equipment installed on those towers, we were responsible to do that project. So back then, there were multiple operators unlike today, and they were all trying to establish network across India. So everybody was working on 2G, and they were also transitioning from 2G to 3G. So there were multiple projects happening across India, and we had bagged a couple of projects out of Kolkata and Bengal. I was handed over a team of about 7-8 people, 10 people odd. By God's grace, I mean I kept on working on that particular journey, and within a year, we were L1 vendors or level 1 vendors for all the operators. So back in the day, we were doing projects. We started doing projects across Eastern India. Then we kind of moved into Northern India. And then eventually, I mean, we never looked back and we kept on expanding. And today, if you look at Telecom, Steelman Telecom, which is the parent company, which still exists, I worked there for about 15 years before starting Snappy Cabs. The company today houses anywhere between 5,000 odd people working across the country, and it's a publicly listed entity. I got the company listed in the year 2022, and yeah, I mean that's how the journey has been. And the second leg started in 2021, which is Snappy Cabs. So I was always interested in the futuristic businesses. I mean, and EV was something which was really being talked about, that the way we travel today is going to be EV. I mean, it's going to transition from the traditional ICE vehicles to EV. So that has been the journey, and the journey started in 2022, and yeah, this is where we are today.
So before we dive deep into Snappy Cabs, just one question, since we're catering to a lot of student viewers. How important do you feel was your education, both in your BCom at Bhawanipur or your Masters in UK, was in your journey to start Snappy? And do you feel that is something which really comes in use today as a founder building Snappy?
See, as I always believe, right, education is something that everybody should have. I mean, that really helps you to build personality more than anything else. I'm not saying what we learned in CFA or in BCom or in my master's degree is applied on the day-to-day operations and the processes that we maintain. But frankly speaking, education gives you a lot of confidence because you've gathered knowledge. In some subconscious state, you're always utilizing that, learned, whatever you have learned in your past events, you're putting or applying those, to test in the current operations. But if you really ask me, in any business, the problem that I today see, and I keep on telling my employees as well and my team members, that my criteria is, when it comes to hiring, my criteria is not that what have you studied. In fact, a lot of people say that once you do MBA you become a very great business administrator, but actually it's not true. It does not ensure that if you have done your MBA, you will have a great acumen to solve problems at the field level. And it is also not that a guy who has just passed class 12 or maybe just a graduate is not worthy enough to kind of operate or help you operate the business. It's not that, but definitely education helps you in the long run. I don't know how important is it to apply in the real world, or is there real application to be set up, but I wish there were courses in India which were very, very aligned with the application that is happening on the ground. Like MBA, as I say that, is a very fulfilling course in itself. I mean, you're learning about everything, like be it marketing or, in finance or maybe some kind of operations. But if we can channelize that entire thing into a dedicated, what a lot of countries have done, like what we call today skill development. So today there's a lot of lacking in skills. Like today we face the same problem in both the businesses, that we don't get to find a lot of people who are actually who are well aware of what is required on the field or in the operations. So that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Definitely so. So I feel, as you said, practical exposure is definitely very important as well as your education. So moving on, sir, we know that the startup culture hasn't particularly picked up on Kolkata as compared to Bangalore or Hyderabad. So why did you particularly choose Kolkata to start Snappy Cabs? And furthermore, how does Snappy Cabs differentiate itself from Uber and Ola?
So great question. We didn't choose Kolkata just because I am from Kolkata. As I said, I have businesses across India. I could have started this business from Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, anywhere. Though of course there is some comfort in doing business out here, but I'll just try to explain you why this particular product really fits in this city. So as you look at telecom also, it started with 2G services, then it went on to 3G, then 4G, and today we are using 5G services, right? But Reliance Jio, which came in much later from these folks, they didn't actually do 2G and 3G and then came into 4G, right? They directly jumped onto the 4G, which was the newest technology. Calcutta today predominantly works on diesel vehicles, and diesel vehicles are the most inefficient machines that are running on the particular, this function, I mean the mobility function. When I say inefficient, in the sense not because of the unit economics, but mostly because of the fact that it is a diesel guzzling machine and it is not great for a society. I mean, it is a much more polluting, automobile that is on the road. Now, it is the prerogative of the government and the entire ecosystem to kind of change this and transition into CNG, right? So that is what happened about 10 years back when Delhi, Bombay, and Bangalore of the world, they actually transitioned into CNG. Unfortunately, Kolkata today does not have CNG. So therefore, the much obvious choice for a mobility company would have been EV. So there are players in CNG in Kolkata, but they're all struggling to get their tank filled up every day, because if you look at Kolkata, and if I go much deeper into it, which I think time would not permit us, but there's a lack of CNG availability in Kolkata today. So that was the much more, that was an obvious choice for us to go for an EV. We wanted to get into EV, and Kolkata as a market compared to Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore was a much more feasible option, because CNG's per unit running cost versus petrol and diesel is far lower, and EV is again slightly lower than CNG. But once you get into unit economics, just because CNG, and you only compare CNG and EV, the total cost of ownership that we call, I mean, so what are we doing? Today we are buying a car which is almost 40-50% more expensive than the current CNG vehicles, and we are displacing that by saying that, okay, my cost of operations is much lower, the per kilometer running is much lower because of the fuel cost, and I am going to kind of get a payback in the next, say, 12 months or 18 months. But that scenario of 12 and 18 is not happening today in EV and CNG. But if you compare EV and diesel, so that is easily happening between 12 months to 18 months. Now, if you look at this function, so Kolkata fits in very perfectly, because CNG है नहीं, पेट्रोल पे यूनिट इकोनॉमिक्स बन नहीं रहा है, डीजल गाड़ी बनना बंद हो चुकी है, because if you go in the market today, there is not a single piece of diesel car that you can buy. The OEMs have stopped manufacturing. So the only thing that you have is EV. Coming to the second part of the question, so that's one of the reasons why we started in Calcutta, because there was a much larger displacement happening. coming back to the difference between Ola and Uber, actually we are not very different. We are again a cab company. The major difference between Ola and Uber is they control the demand. So there are two things in this entire thing, in this entire industry which is happening. The aggregator model plays on the demand. वो आपको डिस्काउंट देगा, वो आपको कूपन्स देगा, वो आपको प्राइसिंग देगा, वो आपको प्राइसिंग बेनिफिट्स देगा. They will play the consumer, but they don't have any play towards the supply because they don't own anything. So they are trying to get folks from the market who can actually deploy vehicles on their platform, and this particular person deploying the asset on the platform is not, I would say, does not have an exclusivity with the aggregator. The driver has multiple apps, like he has Rapido, he has Yatri Sathi, he has whatever, Ola, Uber, and he is running on any platform that suits his, which optimizes his income. तो मान लीजिए आपको पार्क स्ट्रीट से सॉल्ट लेक जाना है, वो आपकी राइड नहीं लेगा. अक्षिता जी को जो है पार्क स्ट्रीट से शायद गरिया जाना है, तो वो शायद ले ले बिकॉज उसका कुछ ऑप्टिमाइजेशन का कुछ कहानी होगा, या तो उसको घर जाना है या whatever, right? We come from the supply side. We control the asset. So for me, in the long run, what we say is that we can control the demand as well, because if the asset is with us, then we are playing the supply side of the game. So you'll be surprised to know that a lot of times aggregators, without naming them, they actually approach us that can you actually fulfill our supply side. So you are controlling the market from the supply angle. So that's one big difference that we feel we are in the market for. But otherwise, as a consumer, it is nothing. It's a cab service. You download Snappy's app, you get a cab there as well. You download Uber app or Ola's app, you get a cab there as well. And then it depends on the consumer, what kind of a consumer you are. So whether you are a consumer who is price sensitive or time sensitive or a premium sensitive. Like for example, आपको पैसे बचाने हैं तो आप 10 मिनट वेट करके आप शायद सबसे सस्ती कैब खोजोगे. आप बिजनेसमैन या वुमेन हो, आपको टाइम की परवाह ज़्यादा है, यू डोंट केयर अबाउट द मनी, सो यू विल से कि नहीं बॉस जो पहले आएगा मैं चला जाऊँगा. एंड देन देयर इज थर्ड काइंड which what you have realized in our 2.5 years of operation, that you like the premiumization of it, like ड्राइवर कैसा है, गाड़ी कैसी है, इंटीरियर एक्सटीरियर कैसा है, वगैरह वगैरह. एंड देन आई वांट a superior service. Actually, that has made us launch very recently MGZS EV as well, because there is a segment of people, and you won't believe, without a single penny of marketing spent out there, we have just launched 25 vehicles on Monday, and our average rides happening on those cars are already reaching about 8 rides a day, which is, which is mind-boggling. We were not anticipating more than 3. So which is more than double.
So sir, to your answer, I noticed you mentioned two parts, the demand side and the supply side, and how Snappy is playing on the supply side of it. Yeah. So I'll ask you questions on both, follow up on both. Firstly, on the demand side, like you said rightly, like we as consumers, we open 3 apps, whichever is the cheapest for us, we go for it usually because we're price sensitive.
You're that kind of consumer.
Correct. Yeah. So generally the cheapest option is Snappy, typically because it's an EV segment car. So can you give us a breakdown when you talked about cost of ownership as well? What is the initial cost difference for owning a EV vehicle versus a diesel or CNG vehicle, and also the running cost, and as to how Snappy is usually cheaper than the other cab aggregators?
So owning of the vehicle is roughly about 40% higher compared to a diesel vehicle or a CNG vehicle. So typically once you order an Ola and Uber, especially in Calcutta, I am not comparing Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, वहाँ पे ज़्यादातर वैगनार चलती है, but यहाँ पे you will see Desire which comes to you in most of the conditions. अभी थोड़ा बहुत वैगनार आने लग गया है because of the inflow of वैगनार्स have increased in Calcutta recently. That car typically costs about 7.5 odd lakhs. That is my knowledge. Versus we buy it around at 12 odd lakhs. So that's about 5 odd lakhs difference. And on the operating expense, a CNG vehicle generally operates at about 5.5 rupees for a kilometer. Petrol, diesel would go much higher. Petrol, diesel की बात नहीं करेंगे because diesel almost out है system से. If we talk about petrol, this would not be less than 10 odd bucks. For EV, the cost of charging the vehicle would not be more than 1.5 to 1.75 bucks. But since parking is included, because the way we work, we operate in a hub model. So all our cars need to be picked up from our hub, operate throughout the day, returned back on the hub, and the driver goes away to his house. So we don't allow the drivers to basically take the cars back to their houses. What happens mostly in cases where the car and the driver are the same, I mean the owner is the driver himself. So unit economics wise, we are cheaper because our operating costs are lower. But so what we do is we make a kind of a optimized horizon, keeping in mind how long the car is going to work, what are the expenses over a period of what are the what is the kind of cost that we are going to bear, say in road tax, insurance, refurbishment of the vehicle, battery replacement if required, charging, parking, maintenance, driver salary, EMIs, interest. So we have like made a very robust list of all the expenses over a period of say 7 years or 8 years, and then we discount it on a monthly basis right from day one, and then we calculate where our ROI is being met, and that is how we decide the pricing. And therefore we can calculate that over a period of 7-8 years, since my total cost of ownership is slightly lower by around say 20% or 10% or 15% or something like that, is what I create a discount on the pricing today, so that over a period of 7 years eventually my ROI still holds up. That is how we've been working. But again, there is so much of changes happening in the market. The battery costs are coming down on a daily basis. A very recent statement by head of the state, which is 𝗫𝘃𝗍𝗃, he has given a statement that there's going to be a lot of changes in the entire automobile sector, wherein either diesel or petrol prices are going to, the diesel or petrol cars prices are going to go up, which will equate or which will dilute this difference, so that people start buying EVs more preferentially, or else they are going to reduce the pricing so that maybe it's the excise duties or the pricing on the cars or any kind of state subsidies that comes along is going to help us to kind of make this difference go slightly down. So if that happens, I mean it's good for us. Yeah.
So we understood the demand side of it and how you achieve your pricing, the lower pricing. But when you speak about the model, the hub and spoke model, you mentioned, and do you own your cars outright? And if you do, that's a very capex heavy model. So can you tell us more about what the model is? Like, do you own your cars, and how do you plan on scaling that way, since it will require a lot of capital investment?
Yeah. So as of now, we do own all our vehicles. Either it is typically leased from large institutions. There are a lot of institutes in the market which lease these vehicles. So typically they don't come on my balance sheet. Again, you guys are from all management guys, so you will understand this well. So there is asset heavy and asset light. So we technically are somewhere in the middle. 60 to 70% of my vehicles are not owned by me. And when I say that, they are not on my balance sheet, but I pay the EMIs for them in terms of lease to leasing agencies. So there are two contracts in the same contract, or rather two outcomes in the same contract. Either after the lease period is over, I give the vehicle back to them and leave the headache to them to kind of dispose of the asset or sell it out or do whatever with it, whatever they wish to do. Or else I buy back that asset after the lease agreement is over for a agreed upon price, and then continue to operate, and eventually having them on my balance sheet, but with with almost the entire value of the vehicle already depreciated. So typically now since the asset belongs to me, but actually there is no cost associated to that asset. So there are various financial models. I have financial guys in my team who keep on doing this, due diligence on a daily basis. The current set of problems is today you have to look from the driver side of the things. आज आपको कोई भी एक ड्राइवर नहीं मिलेगा, or you will not find any driver who is going to buy this EV asset and put it on your platform. First, he has the obvious choice of going for a CNG vehicle, which is 5 lakhs or 6 lakhs cheaper in the market, and then operate it on any of these platforms, right? That's an obvious choice for him. Why should he pay any upfront cost? Anybody sitting here does not like to pay more for something that can be bought for a lesser price. I mean, unless, of course, in certain commodities, but general statement is that. Second is the charging problem. I mean, where is this driver going to charge this vehicle, even if he buys this? There is hardly any public charging available, right? The government is not really pushing a lot to implement charging on their own for various reasons. Again, it's not that government does not want to, but government has limitations. Government is not a business unit. They are more of a facilitator of, public services. So technically what happens, private operators or private charging companies need to come and establish, but then it's a chicken and egg story. Since there is not a lot of EVs flowing in, so a lot of people are not coming and charging their vehicles on their stations, what they have already established. Therefore, they are not making money. Therefore, they are not investing further, right? On the other hand, the EV ecosystem, the people who want to buy these vehicles are not buying because they are always running anxiety happening within themselves that if my charge goes down, where am I going to charge the vehicle? So it's a lot of chicken and egg story happening here. So therefore, what we did 2 years back is we started deploying our own charging hubs. So today, Snappy Cabs, one of the bigger moats that we have today while we operate in Calcutta is our charging hubs. So we have close to about now 12 charging hubs with the overall capacity of close to about 1100 cars that I can charge and park at the same time, at any time of the day. And these are all captive charging stations. So not that you bring in your vehicle and it's open to public as well. It's not open to public. But again, I mean, we are planning or we are researching how we can facilitate that for the public so that more and more people can buy and utilize the asset, because in most of my cases the asset is free for close to about 8 to 10 hours, 12 hours a day, because my cars are on the road. By then these hubs are actually empty. If somebody can utilize these assets or the charging stations when my hub is free, we are more than happy to do that. We're just trying to figure out how we are going to do that. So this needs again a lot of tech integration. Yeah.
Right. So, sir, you talked about your leasing ties. So, this reminded me of something that we read, that BlueSmart, being one of the biggest players in this particular category, so they recently had issues with their parent company, Genzol, wherein their leasing ties actually downturned, resulting in their top position, top position people actually exiting and their credit rating falling down. So, what are your views on the same, considering you operate on a similar model?
You have to read a lot. There's a lot between the lines. And this is not the right forum where I can comment on a competitor, but I can give you a couple of analogies there. One, the parent company, Gensol Engineering, was leasing them the vehicles, but there's something called arm's length contract. So technically you are a parent company and he is another agency, let's say a leasing company, right? And I am Snappy Cabs. So I go to Steelman and say, my parent company, I go that you buy the vehicle, you give me the vehicle, but in return I am going to pay you, and they'll say the least cost is, let's say 30K, and I come back to you, I am going to only pay 20K. So you are bearing the loss, right? So of course that is going to hurt the parent company, right? Because they are now bleeding the money, right? This could be one of the case, but again, I'm not sure whether this happened or not with them, but this is what I could understand from a lot of readings that I did on my own. And then there's another company which Ronak owns, and then he comes back and I'm paying him 30K. So of course he's making his profits along with the exact lease rental. So that's one of the reasons. There are a lot of things that have gone wrong for them, not just the leasing bit. And when you mentioned top executives going out, most of them I know personally as well. And the company is kind of restructuring now. So I think what I could figure out was they were very top heavy. The ship that they were trying to build with probably the vision that we are going to do 50,000 cars or 1 lakh cars eventually down the line. So they're already hired a lot of people who could actually help them reach there. the vision was right, the hirings were right, all of those folks are very intelligent people. But unfortunately, because of the entire ecosystem that is currently, really not, as you asked me earlier, right, what is the difference between Ola and Uber and us? The product itself is also is slightly at a nascent stage. I would say it needs a lot of time for it to mature. I mean, the operations in mobility is directly linked to the number of kilometers you are running every day. Because आप जितना चलाओगे उतना पैसा आपको वापस आएगा. Unfortunate, and this is what Indigo does, right? I mean, if you see the number of flights that they take is far higher than any other airline competition. So that is how mobility business works. Buses, trucks, cars, auto-wheelers, anywhere. The more you run, the more money you make. The problem is the product has limitations today. With 140 to 160 odd kilometers running, you can't keep on running the vehicle. And once you put them back on charge, it takes 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours to charge. So technically you can operate predominantly one shift a day. Whereas you can hire 2 drivers, put 2 drivers, and then keep on running the vehicle if it charges in 10 minutes, right? So there are a lot of things that are happening in the market. We can go much deeper into it. I know people like 𝗏𝘀𝘆, who is ex-Ather, who has started his own company called Xponent Energy. He is actually now, I have seen his factory. I have been to his factory in Bangalore. I have seen the product. Crazy. I mean, he's not claiming, rather he showed me that the vehicles that he is charging, currently 3-wheelers, are getting charged in 7 minutes. He is doing something called megawatt charging, or a very high capacity chargers he has installed, and which can charge things. And like, in fact, I might go again to see a demonstration where he is claiming that the bus can be charged in 15 minutes. So if a bus can be charged in 15 minutes, a car can also be charged in 15 minutes. So a lot of developments are happening, but 𝗏𝘆's current downfall or current issues that are happening are multifold related. There are a lot of other issues. The credit rating that have gone down, there are a lot of claims behind that as well, that some documents were not put in properly, or probably were faked or forged or something like that, which again I think 𝗏𝘆ji and Puneetji, the owners of the company, have given their side of the statement. There was an interview in CNBC also. As an outsider, I have limited information, but I am an avid user of 𝗏𝘆 when I am in Delhi, and I can proudly claim, and I have told Puneet also, I have messaged him also, I am one of those folks who have used the services of 𝗏𝘆 in all 4 cities that they operate: Dubai, Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore. And I was one of the first ones in Mumbai, and I was the first ones in Dubai as well. And I have known them since 2019, because in earlier 2019, I actually happened to unconsciously partner with someone in the charging business and set up some charging stations, which eventually I got to know that वो 𝗏𝘆 के chargers हैं. मतलब 𝗏𝘆 uses them. So in fact, I still own those chargers in Delhi. So yeah, I mean, they are the pioneers here. I mean, they cracked this beautifully. The services are impeccable. I am still learning from their operations. वो कैसे चलाते हैं यार इतना solid ship. But the current situation, I think they'll come back. I think they'll come back.
So, sir, to ask a little bit more about the model and transition into a different segment, you mentioned how there's an issue with supply, you need more charging systems, and so you're building your own charging system. You have 12 currently. So when you have to build your own system and also own your own cars, that will require a lot of capital.
Yeah.
So I think you've had one round, about $2.5 million led by IPV. So currently, what is the number scenario? Like, what kind of vision do you have for this year and the next 5 years in terms of numbers, both fleet size, revenue, and also are you planning to raise more funding to fulfill this vision?
See, funding needs to come sustainably. Today, what was evident that people were throwing money on, some numbers about 4 years, 5 years back. The money was available back then without a lot of skin in the game. Even with ideation, even with, some numbers on an Excel sheet were being funded heavily. Today, investors have kind of realized that we need to go deeper. We need to understand unit economics, we need to understand sustainability, we need to understand how the business is being operated. When you ask me what is the vision on our side, so we are more of in a situation where we are waiting and watching the entire ecosystem develop from here as well. So we are not going crazy by adding cars just because we want to achieve certain numbers and certain milestones. We are also trying to understand at the same time where the technology is going on. The shift in EV in just 2-3 years has been crazy on the battery technology, on the charging technology, on the entire product, which is the car itself. आप Mahindra का B6E or B9 देखो आप, मतलब it's such a futuristic car. I mean, who had thought Mahindra would come up with something like that, right? Similarly, Tata is coming up with such brilliant products in the market. BYD is one other example, which is a crazy technology. I mean, they are now giving run to Tesla for their money. I mean, you see the technology where it has gone, right? So, in terms of numbers, the first thing you should know, we are not a cash burning organization. So we are very sustainable in that way. At cash levels, we burn today because of our front loading on the cost. आप एक EMI को 10 साल के लिए 8 साल के लिए break करोगे, so in that case you will see that you are paying that EMI in only 3 years or 4 years. So initially 3-4 years you will always be pushed back because you're paying more EMIs. If today somebody gives me a loan for 8 years and then cuts it down in 8 equal pieces, so that entire upfront cost will actually reduce. But today that's not the case. So that's the cash situation for us. I'm proud to say that we have been EBITDA positive for the past 8 months now, 9 months now. So we are very sustainable business unit. In terms of numbers, funnily, Kolkata is a crazy city. I mean, I never expected, but today the number of people who have downloaded the app, and we are not a very big marketing campaign guys. I mean, we never run marketing campaigns. I have zero budget for marketing. जो organic हो रहा है वो अलग है, and there's 1% team in my marketing, entire marketing team. It's a 1% team. The total download on the app till yesterday was, it has crossed 1 million long back. I mean, I don't know exact counts, but till yesterday it was more than 1 million. The number of active users on a daily basis is close to about 1 lakh and a half. Right? The number of people who come on the app and actually check for a ride is around 70K to 80K on a daily basis. So, I mean, if you look at the total demand that we have on our app, we can actually add around 4,000 vehicles to cater to that demand. So today we are not thinking beyond this. We are very, very focused on Kolkata as a market. We are very, very focused on ensuring we reach that milestone of 3,000, 4,000 cars only in Kolkata. And then eventually, see or spread our wings in maybe Bangalore and Delhi and Bombay of the world. Because frankly speaking, today as a cab company, we don't see a lot of moat or a lot of differentiation between us and the other cab aggregators for any other city. As a consumer, आप मेरे को बात बताओ, how does it matter to you whether an EV is coming or a diesel car is coming or a CNG is coming? It's a car which is coming. And then those 3 segments. What kind of car, at what price, and how long is it taking? In either of the case, we can't beat Uber and Ola. I mean, they have lakhs and lakhs of cars. And as you rightly said, to build that lakhs of cars, you need lakhs and lakhs of crores to kind of get into a competition, and nobody is going to fund you that much, right? So we are taking one step at a time. And in terms of numbers, we did one round. We are in fact currently doing another, which is smaller than what we did earlier because we don't need a lot of cash right now to kind of sustain ourselves. Last time it helped us sustain about 12 months. This time what we are raising, which is lower, which will help us to sustain, grow till almost 18 months. So, I mean, till at least the next 6 to 8 months, we are not thinking about the next round. Yeah, I mean, If we explore to get into other markets, it's something else. But today we are kind of exploring things like buses. I mean, that is something that we are kind of thinking. Because आज आप देखोगे तो कैलकाटा में अभी भी कोई EV bus नहीं है, apart from the state buses. There is no EV buses from here to Durgapur, Asansol or Mednipur or something like that. So we are trying to figure out if we can do something there. So that's our next business plan.
So speaking more about the model of Snappy,
Yeah.
I think it has a feature where the driver can't cancel your ride once it has been booked.
Yeah.
Correct. So how exactly does your algorithm work where the driver does not have much freedom to decide its trip or cancel it, and it's more user-centric? So how is the experience for the driver, and how do drivers operate? Since you said it's a hub model, they have to come pick them. So what's the incentive for them? Are they on your payroll, or how do you pay your drivers? What is their incentive to choose Snappy over an Uber or Ola car?
So a lot of things on that. We have worked in 2 years. The first thing, which is the cancellation bit, right? So cancellation was a non-negotiable item for me from day one. Because when I did my market research, what does the consumer want? And irrespective of price, irrespective of the kind of car coming in, one of the bigger problems that which was notified to me from the team that who was engaged to understand, what is the consumer requirement, was the cancellation bit. I mean, reliability factor from the incumbent app cab aggregators had gone for a toss. I mean, 90% of the consumer were coming back and saying कि boss, बाकी सब तो ठीक है, but गाड़ी आती कहाँ है? The reliability is zero. I mean, people who are traveling to say airports or railway stations who have ticking time bomb, like kind of, you have to reach on time, otherwise you will. So that anxiety factor or that anxiety used to kick in so badly, especially early morning flights. Like people like me who take flights at 7 in the morning, boss. 4 o'clock you are getting up, 4:30 you have ordered a cab and it does not turn up. That really makes you go here and there. I'm like, ab karenge kya, right? So that was a non-negotiable item. So in the algorithm part, it's a simple thing. We don't have a button there to cancel for the driver. But what we have is a monitoring team. So let's say there are a lot of instances on a daily basis where the consumer is not picking up the phone. One of the things that we have realized today is that, so let's say you, Ronak, have booked a cab on Ola and Uber or whatever, and you've booked on Snappy also. Now you are a kind of guy who wants the cab whosoever comes earlier, right? So you, Ola or Uber koi aa gayi hogi and you sat in it and you left, and now Snappy driver is calling you, you're ignoring. You're like, you know that I don't need the cab anymore. Neither have you cancelled, right? What happens in this case is my driver gets boggled up. So what we thought, nahi, ye to fir thoda sa tricky ho jayega. So what we told them was, you call the monitoring team, they will try, say let's say once or twice, and if they don't get to also connect with the consumer, then they will cancel the ride from the back end, and then you start getting newer rides. We will eventually, once we kind of reach there, we gain consumer confidence, we are going to implement some kind of a strategy wherein we enforce the consumer also that you don't pick up. So it's a two-way contract. What I didn't like about Ola, Uber, and this was a personal experience happened to me in Bombay, जहाँ पे मैंने कैंसिल किया तो मेरे को 100 रुपये चार्ज कर दिया उबर ने, एग्जाम्पल, आई डोंट नो कितना चार्ज किया था, बट जब उन्होंने मेरे को कैंसिल किया, आई डिडंट गेट एनीथिंग. In airline also, if you cancel, you are charged. If the airline cancels, you get paid. Cab में क्यों नहीं? I mean, consumer को भी आप reliable बनाओ. तो what we thought was eventually what we'll do is, we will put a cancellation charge on the consumer if he, because I'm ensuring your ride, because my driver can't cancel. And if we eventually do cancel because of say any reason, we are trying to come up with a method that we are going to pay you back because we wasted your time. So it's either way. I mean, we'll do something of those sorts. We're still trying to figure out, as I said, there's a lot of algorithm that needs to be first built up, and then we'll get into it. Yeah. On the payment of the driver, it's a very fixed and variable model. So fixed because today, in most of our cases, the drivers, we thought that, the demand could be a problem. Around 2 years back, once we started, we realized, yeah, demand could be a very big problem. People might turn up on the app, might not turn up on the app, but my driver is on the road with the car. He needs to be kind of compensated for the time he's spending on the vehicle. So there was a fixed component from day one that this much rupees per hour is what you are going to get for the time that you're online. The remaining part, I've ensured a substantial portion of your daily costs. For the remaining part, I'm going to give you variable. So if you are able to do 20 rides a day, then you get this extra incentive. If you do 5 rides a day, you don't get incentive. But if you do, let's say, 10 rides, then you get some kind of incentive. So there are like ride-wise, revenue-wise slabs, incentives, the way you behave, the way the complaints are coming from the consumer. And then, of course, there's an entire driver operations team which kind of takes care of all this nuances where, everything is related to it. The way you keep the asset, the way you drive the asset. In fact, we have every car is fitted with telematics. So we get to understand whether the driver is riding the vehicle very harshly, the way he's accelerating, braking, stuff like that. In fact, new feature we are trying to add, we are negotiating with few folks in the market. You will get, again, one of the first in class in Calcutta, where if all thing goes right again, this is something which is still under discussion, but it is taken shape. We are trying to put in cameras in every car. Yeah, for the safety, both for the consumer, for the driver, because what we realized, a lot of times there are accidents happening and, we don't get to understand whose mistake was it, whether it was the driver, but the driver gets penalized. And then there's a lot of pushback from the driver that, boss, mera galti nahi tha. But you look at from the management's perspective, how do we judge without actually knowing what happened there? So then we realized, okay, we'll put in cameras, which will also ensure security for the riders as well, because at the end of the day, काफ़ी बार ये भी होता है कि हमें नहीं पता चलता है what is the conversation happening between the consumer and the driver. काफ़ी बार driver बोलता है, सर मैंने कुछ नहीं किया, झगड़ा करने लग गए. But now we know what happened, what instigated. So, in that case also we penalize the driver only, saying that consumer to bhagwan hai. Something like that. But actually that's not true. A lot of times consumer is also at mistake. So because of all that safety concerns, accidental concerns and all that, we started feeling that no, let's put up a full-fledged camera, which will actually help to secure all these things. So we come from a very security point of view also. We always want to ensure that today, the way world is, whatever is happening across us, security is becoming slightly non-negotiable for everyone. Your parents would be concerned, where are you? What has happened? So mobile has somewhat kind of elevated that experience. You're at a call, like हमारे ज़माने में उतना mobile चालू था. Still, it was quite expensive. तो recharge नहीं है, ये नहीं है, वो तो बहुत कुछ चालू होता था. Parents used to really get worried. Where is my son or where is my daughter? But today that has really elevated. Similarly in cabs, what we have seen, mobility. In fact, again, the government of India, I think right now, if I'm not sure, compulsory कर दिया है कि नहीं, but शायद buses में they are putting in Delhi that every bus should be fitted with a camera and whatnot. So we are taking, receiving knowledge, trying to see what cost-benefit analysis we can achieve from that, and we're trying to do that. So yeah, that's where we are on the driver side right now.
That was genuinely really thought-provoking.
Yeah.
So moving on to a different segment, sir. So women in mobility has still been a rarity in India, and your recent initiative, Pink Scooty, is actually transforming everything. So could you just elaborate on your vision behind it, and how do you see it transforming women in urban transport?
So by the way, I don't know if you're aware or not, we still have around 20-30 drivers, women drivers who drive Snappy as well. In fact, they were all in my office yesterday. We had a long chat with them yesterday in the office, where PwC was involved, where 𝗔𝘂, German consulate, was involved. So this initiative had started around 1.5 years back by us to kind of get women drivers also. Not just in the Pink Scooty bid, which happened much later, but the first thought was to kind of involve them in the four-wheeler segment as well. I'm proud to say that today we have active around 20 or 25 women drivers who drive every day, and they were so happy yesterday. In fact, they were proposing a lot of things, but yeah, that initiative remains to the core of the system, that we are going to work on that. In fact, I requested GIZ and PwC if we can somehow encourage more women to come and drive these vehicles. We are ready to get them trained. I have a training center in Salt Lake where they can get trained, and we can take them through the journey of EV. And because these cars are really, really comfortable to drive. They are all automatic, unlike the existing cabs that run on the market. They are very comfortable. We don't tell the drivers to switch off the AC and whatnot to save the fuel cost or anything, because for us it does not really matter. Overall, it is very comforting experience. So that's one story before I jump onto the Pink Scooty initiative. Pink Scooty initiative started about a couple of months back with an idea that today when we were again doing some consumer research, we found out that a lot of people, though they want to go from point A to point B, but unfortunately for them again the price matters, and a cab is probably not a sustainable mode of transport. So they choose bike taxis, and in Kolkata right now Rapido is number 1, and I think number 2 and number 3 are far distant competitors. Rapido 𝗫𝗃𝗍, I don't see a lot of people who choose bike taxis in other platforms. Having said that, there was another prerogative that came out of this, was that there is a lot of women also who would like to take these bike taxis, but given the fact that 100% bikes are driven by or ridden by male drivers or male riders, they are hesitant, uncomfortable, or they don't like to sit behind a guy who is riding the bike, a male person riding the bike. So I like, okay, and this is very interesting. I mean, in fact, from that day it has somehow been, I've been noticing on the road when I'm driving myself, that bikes कहाँ चल रही है और कौन बैठा है, and वो मोबाइल लगा हुआ तो समझ में आता है कि it's a bike taxi. And I keep on seeing, and I have seen a lot of women also going, but they're very uncomfortable. I can see it from my eyes that they are not liking the experience overall. Now that gave us an idea that, okay, what if women ride the bike and it can be exclusive for only women riders? So we did a lot of deliberation in the office, we did a lot of discussions, a lot of things happened. Eventually, that led me to actually go to Bangalore, meet Ola, meet all the two-wheeler manufacturers, because I had no idea. I was not doing any research on two-wheelers. I was only concentrating on four-wheelers. So I spent a week in Bangalore, met most of these folks, and realized, yeah, there is a market which can be tapped in. And, we brought this NGO who wants to bring women and, leverage the entire opportunity for women as well, kind of, to get them onboarded on this platform, ride these bikes, make a buck if possible. Currently, we are in a position where I can say that, things are happening at the background, but I am not in a position to come out with numbers like how many cabs or how many bikes or how many, or when is it starting. It is something still under discussion, though we have opened it up, but let's see how it goes back. Yeah.
So, since the EV segment is directly correlated to sustainability goals and also Snappy launching the Pink Scooty, so do you believe Snappy today is an impact-first startup, or do you see this as a more profit-oriented or the revenue-oriented startup?
It's both, yeah. Why can't it be both? So SDG goals is what you're talking about. So there are multiple SDG goals. I think some 14, 18, some SDG goals are there in the policy. Actually, if I'm not wrong, we cover about 5 of them. So it's a pretty huge SDG goal that we cover today by being in just one ecosystem. So one is, of course, sustainability because of EV. Then there's women drivers, women, women coming along and helping us to, mobilize a few things. In fact, there is something on the alternate energy as well that we are currently working on. So we want that these cars that are being charged by, say, a non-renewable energy source, we are trying to figure out if we can somehow do a renewable energy source model. So let's say a tie-up with some solar company which can actually source the entire energy so that entire hub can be charged with only solar energy. It's something we are working on. Problem in India, and particularly in West Bengal, is that it takes time for these things to happen because the policies are such that it is going to take more and more time to somehow kind of bring everything to shape. Like in few states in India like MP, UP, this is pretty feasible, this is happening today. But in West Bengal there's still some restrictions, or there's still some gateways that needs to be opened up to start this process. But I'm happy that people are thinking, people are moving towards that transition, and if not today, yeah, tomorrow definitely this is going to happen, with either Snappy being one of the first movers who can actually get this initiated, or maybe someone else. But once the door gets opened, it gets open for everyone, and then we can be more sustainable. Because today I am reducing the tailpipe emission, but at the end of the day we are charging it from some kind of a non-renewable energy source, right? So we want to cater to that as well. So we do take care of SDG goals as well. At the same time, we are also promoting, sustainable business. I mean, we are not in a business which is going to be, say, a cash burning machine for the next, say, 10 years or something like that, just on the prerogative that we are sustainable. I mean, you have to be sustainable in both ways. So that is how our mindset goes, yeah.
So, as an entrepreneur, what are some key lessons that you've learned, and what are certain advices that you would like to give to aspiring founders in the mobility sector?
All right. Starting from the key lessons. Okay. So one of the biggest lessons that I learned was you don't have to be know-it-all. You have to learn from people around you. I am more on that side, so I learn a lot from people, but in few cases I did some mistakes that I should have learned, and I should have heard people when they were kind of approaching me or approaching the organization as a whole to kind of give us some kind of mentorship. So I think hire right. The one of the bigger problem statements today has been that people don't hire right people. Because of either lack of skills in the market, although there are a lot of people, but you don't get right people. But hiring right people is the key to make a business successful. And as a promoter, or as a rather founder, I would say, lot of founders feel that हम सब कर लेंगे, boss नहीं कर पाओगे. I am telling you, you need a team. What you guys are doing here, this is not a one person's idea. This is a team who's doing it, and that is what it seems like. It's so flawless. You need a team, whether it's an organization or any event that you're organizing. I mean, you need a team, and you need the right people, and with the right conviction and mission. Like, okay, we are all thinking towards that. I am glad to say that it took some time, but today the team that we have is a very good team. I mean, there are folks from all walks of life, and they all contribute so much with me that is how we have reached about 1,000-1,200 cars today. I mean, it's not a joke, because we are one of the larger ones after Blue Smart, and without making a lot of noise, and from Kolkata. So a lot not on our side, but then we still are successful. Second advice would be, don't run behind funding. You get it, great. What if you don't get it? What a lot of people mistake is that मिल जाएगा funding, then we will grow. या फिर मिल जाएगा funding, then we will think about expanding, or funding मिल जाएगा. Like, everything goes back to funding. What I have seen, and I had that phase in my life for about a couple of weeks, not even month, couple of weeks, and I quickly realized, boss, let's be sustainable. Let's develop a system where we also have a large discussion happening that what if we don't get funding? Because I am telling you today, funding is not easy, even for an organization like us, where we have revenues now clocking to about 70-80 crores a year. We probably would cross 100 crores this year. and I think you were asking me somewhere there, so that that gets answered. 100 crores का revenue करने के कगार पे है, but at the end of the day still I'm not too sure after 12 months or 18 months I will get funding or not. You are anticipating you will get, great, but you always have a plan B that what if you don't get. Don't make a business where if you don't get funding you fail. I wish to tell all the young entrepreneurs there that always build a business, even if you don't get funding you should sustain. So in short, be profitable. If not profitable, don't, at least be break even, so that you keep on, if you fail, if you stop, if you close down your shop, the entire opportunity that might be lying ahead is closed, right? That door is shut. So always be sustainable in a way so that that opportunity is still there in the long run. 99% cases when I have been a part of in any of these events, a lot of founders, a lot of say owners have come and asked me, sir, how did you raise your funding? I understand that these guys are all behind, पैसा आ जाएगा तो हम बहुत गजब कर देंगे. My dad didn't have any money when he started his business. And this is my ghar ka example, but you must have read millions of such examples that when people started, who have now reached billions of dollars, lot of them did have single penny in their pocket and they started something. How? That time there was no startup. कोई बैठा नहीं था आपको पैसे देने के लिए. वैल्यूएशन, दिस दैट, डिस्काउंटेड कैश फ्लो, फलाना ढिमकाना, कितना कुछ सुनने मिलता है, बट उन्होंने बिजनेस बनाए. सो कन्विक्शन है, बिजनेस में दम है. डू योर एनालिटिक्स इनिशियली. It took me 3 months to basically put everything on the Excel sheet and start, and then gave an order for the first car. It's not that कि आज सोचा कल सुबह उठे टाटा मेरे को 10 गाड़ी बेच देना. नहीं boss, it doesn't work like that. Conviction, then that is how we have reached 1200. And today also we are very I mean the conviction level is 100%. That this is a place where you can make money, not a lot of money because it's mobility for God's sake. It's not AI or DeepSeek or something of those sorts. But it's a sustainable business. You can grow this and you can add multiple branches to it, like buses, as I was saying. It's a great business to be in if you can run it. It's a very heavy ops business. You kept on asking me heavy capital. More than capital, it's a very heavy ops business. Driver कर क्या रहा है? 1200 cars, 1200 drivers, 1200 different mind. At the end of the day, who is doing what at what second and what minute is a very big thing. How efficiently you can run, how efficiently you can take out the juice from that every kilometer that you are running on the road is something that you need to keep on cracking on a daily basis. We were doing 3 rides earlier. Today we are doing 9 rides a day. And our anticipation is crazy. Our aspiration is 14. So we are still around 40% less. Almost. So aspirations hai, karenge. Uber does 12-13. So that means there is room. So that is how businesses should be built. The last but not the least, I guess, the entrepreneur or the founder or anybody, I mean, take it easy. Lately, what I have been also seeing is a lot of these entrepreneurs are in so much of stress. Young folks, 30s, 40s, are giving up and are probably not seeing the next day. I mean, you see the so many episodes you have seen, like I mean, top of my head, अभी last में 𝗫𝗃𝗄𝗎 वाले का पढ़ा था. I mean, 40-odd-year-old guy, यार. I mean, don't take stress. Stress is a very bad thing, and you will hear it from everyone. मैं पढ़ाई में भी मत लेना, धंधे में भी मत लेना. स्ट्रेस मत लेना. नहीं हो रहा छोड़ दो. मेरे से नहीं होता था पढ़ाई, एक आध छोड़ दिया. स्ट्रेस नहीं लेने चाहिए. स्ट्रेस लेने से ही आपका सारा काम खराब हो जाएगा. Go with a fresh day, fresh start every day, and you keep on working right here. I mean, I see so many people taking stress, and I think India is the worst place today. I feel everybody is in stress. I see around me, nobody, like it's all fake laughs. Just trying to be happy, but none of them are happy. Believe me, I'm the most happiest person. In fact, I was so happy yesterday. I went for a parent-teacher meeting for my kid yesterday, and I was so glad. I wanted to hear this only. The only thing my teacher said about my kid was, he is the happiest person in the class. I'm like, great. Stress nahi hai agle ko. Koi dikkat nahi hai. So that's the only thing I would say.
Thank you so much, sir. To summarize your lessons for the viewers, firstly, hire the right people.
Hire the right
You don't have to
people.
be a know-it-all. Secondly, don't run after funding. Keep it sustainable. Thirdly, keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Don't take a lot of stress.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's a very positive note to end this podcast. We'd like to thank you so much, sir, for taking time out of your schedule
Absolutely.
for doing this. And also, I'm sure this video is going to help a lot of viewers, a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs to build their own startup someday. So thank you for joining Team 𝗫𝗃𝗍 in this initiative. And we wish you all the best for your journey. And we hope to do Snappy do amazing in the coming years.
Thanks a lot, and thanks to the entire team for having me here. And as a parting note, if anybody needs any help, you come across people who want to know more about anything else in general, not Snappy or not, startup funding or anything, do let me know. I'm more than happy to help them out. I'm happy to connect them. I'm happy to kind of show them the right path if possible, if that is in me. And again, thanks to the entire team for having me here.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.